ladies and gentlemen. Please do not be surprised. Normally, my colleague, Dr. Herrmann, should be here giving you this presentation. For personal reasons, she had to leave town this morning, so I will fill in for her. And I will tell you about our new ingredient, Cosphaderm Zinc Lactate Natural. For those of you who do not know our company, let me just give you 2 or 3 slides background information on who we are and what we do. First and foremost, we're in manufacturing of ingredients for the cosmetics industry, and we strongly focus on product stability, which means that we actually have products against yeast, against bacteria or fungi. We have antioxidant products, we have thickeners against phase separation and to keep substances volatile or soluble. We have some lecithins as natural emulsifiers and some actives. So this is our working environment. What is very important for us is naturalness and product protection. So these are 2 factors that are especially important to us, which means that almost all our ingredients are naturally derived, or they're all biodegradable, they're all sustainable, and we test in accordance with German quality standards. As regards certifications, we have some raw materials that are Cosmos approved. Most of them are Cosmos approved. Some of them are even Cosmos certified. We have NATRU certification. It's new in our program. We now also have a lot of NATRU certifications because a lot of manufacturers in Germany place a lot of importance on NATRU. So we also have this certification for our raw materials and RSPO, non-GMO and vegan. Obviously, we should not neglect that. So our raw materials meet that too. So let us have a look at what our company does, what we make our money with. You can see our key sector is natural preservation, natural multifunctionals, which offer a lot of positive effects. Almost 50% of our general turnover is in that field. And this is what I would like to focus on today. And I would also like to introduce you to a very exciting new raw material from exactly that sector, which is Zinc Lactate Natural. Zinc Lactate Natural is produced by means of biofermentation. It's non-GMO, it's vegan, it's certified. And you can see the molecule here. You have zinc, you have lactic acid in combination here. And what's so exciting is that this combination of these 2 raw materials, when bringing them together, offers a wide range, a very exciting range of interesting and useful properties. Starting with the zinc. We know that zinc is antimicrobial, that zinc has antioxidant properties. It's very well known for its anti-inflammatory effects, like, for example, rash cream for babies, diaper rash cream. We often use zinc for that. Zinc has been in deodorants for quite a while now. It's also in some oral care products. It can have, thanks to its antioxidant effect, have an anti-aging effect and also work against pigmentation. So let's now look at lactate, which is considerably more present in the foods industry compared to the cosmetics industry. The cosmetics industry has adopted it for exfoliating products, for example, but it's often used with uric acid as well as a key component of natural moisturizing factor of our skin. Lactic acid is antimicrobial too. However, what we should point out, and this is also the reason why it's more often found in foodstuff and not so much in cosmetic products, only at very low pH levels. So only very few cosmetic formulations meet that criterion. The pH value must be below 5. So it's not as popular in the cosmetics industry as it is in the foods industry. Zinc lactate in combination is water soluble, it's transparent, it's suitable for all kinds of formulations. I can use it in emulsions, I can use it in water-based formulations. And I can also use it for shampoos or shower gels, also in substances or in products containing surfactants, for example. The range where it's effective it's actually very interesting for the cosmetics industry because it works in pH values from 3.5 to 7.0, and the use concentration is between 0.3 to 2%. Normally, it would be between 0.5 and 1% zinc lactate. I would now like to explain why it is so interesting for the individual fields I pointed out earlier, and I would like to start with oral care. In oral care, zinc lactate is very interesting because it's odorless, and what's very important, it doesn't have a taste of its own. So often you have antimicrobial substances which are excellent for fighting periodontosis or caries. For example, magnolia extract. They're alkaloid, they're very bitter in taste. And I don't have that problem with zinc lactate because it has a very neutral taste. It has a bacteriostatic effect, which means that some trials have actually proven that zinc lactate is effective against buildup on the teeth and gingivitis. It will stop the growth of tartar and calculus. And seeing as it's antimicrobial, it's often used against bad breath because it can inhibit bacteria, which will produce volatile sulfur compounds. Zinc lactate really efficiently inhibits these kind of bacteria. We've found that substance in deodorants for quite a while now because zinc lactate came in when sort of replacing aluminum salts, because aluminum salt used to be very trendy and then nobody wanted them anymore because they're harmful. And latest findings, I guess it was published last year, like the Federal Office for Risk Research said it's not that bad because they looked at all the trials. Their finding was that aluminum salts are not that bad as people thought earlier, so we could use it. So we will see what we'll end up with, whether it has irreparably damaged their reputation. But anyhow, zinc lactate is an excellent replacement for aluminum salt because it inhibits the odor-producing bacteria. With regard to the anti-transpiring effect, there are not that many studies as of yet. We've seen some initial research, but there is not yet a valid study, a neutral study from a university that tested it against aluminum salts with regard to the anti-transpiratory effect. What's very interesting is that it reduces rashes because it has the antioxidative effect, which will combat the burning sensation on your skin, for example. So this can be very interesting for shaving products. For example, if you shave your armpit and then you apply deodorant, it would not cause any burning sensation at all. I mentioned earlier that in skincare, it's very important regarding the natural moisturizing factor. Lactic acid is a substance we have known for quite a while. It has exfoliating effects at higher concentrations. Lactic acid is also used because it inhibits enzymes that can in turn produce radicals. So it will have a certain anti-aging, or as we now tend to say, anti-pollution effect. Again, it prevents skin irritation, reduces skin irritation, and fosters the skin's healing processes. It's very efficient against pathogens that cause the inflammatory process in acne, for example. I explicitly don't use it as an anti-acne product because this is a pharmaceutical term, and we have to be very careful when we use that in a cosmetic product because we have to understand that there is not the substance against acne, because acne is a multifactorial disease and it will never be possible to use a single raw material to actually influence the hormone balance in the body. And magnolia extract and zinc lactate have almost the same effect as antibiotics that are commonly used in pharmaceutical creams to combat acne. So what they do and what we want to do is kill off the kind of pathogens that will actually cause the inflammatory process present in acne, which will then result in the inflamed pimples and will also result in scars on the skin in the long run. And zinc lactate is a very efficient raw material, efficiently combating that kind of condition. As I told you earlier, zinc lactate has a strong antimicrobial effect, which makes it a very interesting substance when we're talking about preservation or product protection in terms of the formulations, because especially when looking at this particular field, we have seen a lot of challenges because we want to have a raw material that is natural on the one hand, but should be ideally very water soluble and at the same time fight yeasts and fungi. When we're talking natural cosmetics, this is a significant challenge, especially when we're talking about pH values higher than 6, because a lot of naturally derived organic acids cannot be used anymore. So what I brought here for you is some challenge tests. Results. We ran them by the medical book, the pharmaceutical book from Euler. And please don't be surprised that both results produced a failed result here. For us, it was not about proving whether zinc lactate could actually meet the test criteria on itself. It was an on-water emulsion, and to use zinc lactate to a certain amount and to see what actually happens, how zinc lactate reduces the individual bacteria at two different pH values at 5.55 and 7.05. And in both pH levels, we saw that bacteria was reduced, even a little more strongly with the higher pH value, but this could also be down to the fact that E. coli and Pseudomonas are not very comfortable at that kind of pH level anyhow. But what's very exciting was that zinc lactate is very effective against Aspergillus. So we could bring it down significantly to up to 8,200 with 5.55 and even down to 600 with a pH value of 7.05. So this makes it a very interesting raw material for us because especially when combined with other raw materials, you create nice synergy effects and manage to boost efficiency even further, which will then result in a very good and a very price-effective preservation option for natural cosmetics, especially when we're talking about water-based formulations. Again, here you'll see that applying a lot doesn't always help a lot because we tested what happens if we increase the concentration of zinc lactate. We used a 6.5 pH value and used 0.5, 0.75 and 1.0 zinc lactate. And you can see sometimes the result with 0.5 is even better for some of the bacteria. What's very important to mention is that we actually counted every bacteria on its own, so there's no falsification of results due to the fact that we had several bacteria on the plate at the same time so that one couldn't grow because the other was present. We counted them all individually. So we saw an excellent reduction of the CFU down to 44,000, 120,000 and 130,000. It always depends on formulation, obviously, because what can happen here, in that case, this was micelle water and shampoo. So both are types of formulations that contain surfactants. The shampoo contains a significantly higher concentration of surfactants than the micelle water, obviously, but 1% zinc lactate was sufficient to get the best possible result in accordance with the FAMORA testing standards. Still, I would always recommend using it in combination with other antimicrobial substances because this will allow for a more efficient combating of bacteria and having a mechanism of action that will also help if you, for example, weaken the membrane of one bacteria, have an acid or a lactate penetrate the cell more easily. So pendolin glycol, that's a real plus capyl hydroxylic acid, proved to be very, very efficient here. And we've some initial results, and we're still doing some further research into that, but our results have been very promising. We've seen very promising synergy effects, so you'll have very efficient, excellent preservation. So actually, that was a very brief presentation of zinc lactate. If you have questions, come visit us at our booth. And here again, because this presentation is streamed, and also this was Dr. Herrmann. She was originally supposed to give that presentation, and here you'll find her email address because she's responsible for the German market. So if you like, you can also write her an email and or come to our booth. So that's everything I wanted to say. So if you have questions, please feel free. No more questions? Okay, so I did an excellent job or I did a bad job. I'm not sure. So thank you very much for being here today.